Hey guys, before this video kicks off, I've stepped in just to tell you that you could win an Infinity prize by simply commenting on this video, either here at beast4.com or on this video on YouTube. We'll be selecting a comment at random, and that winner will receive a mystery prize. Might be a tag, might be a starter army, but it's a mystery. So get commenting and enjoy the video. Hey guys, and welcome to another Infinity Week, which we have labeled Infinity Week 2. I'm joined by Carlos of Corvus Belli fame, the mighty Carlos. Welcome back, Carlos.
It's nice to be here.
It's great to have you back. Okay, so guys, we're about to embark on an amazing journey again through Infinity. We're going to announce the release of the upcoming Infinity campaign book. So you guys have been asking, I bet you didn't realize just how awesome the product was that you were going to get. So Carlos, the fans have been asking for an Infinity campaign book or for missions for quite some time now. Tell us what they've got.
Okay, this was meant to be a book full of missions and grew up to be a whole campaign book with a narrative plot and a narrative system, and then grew up to be a book that also comes with more troops, more rules, and it became something huge. More difficult to test, more difficult to write, more difficult to balance, but a much better product than we expected. After, when we were facing the last testing sessions, we really knew that we have something cool here. Something that has potential for giving life to the game for months and enjoy the players for lots of time.
Yeah, the only way I can describe this, guys, is if you can imagine this book is almost like a movie that you and your mates can play. It's been set up to be so cinematic. It's like a video game with this ongoing plot through the whole thing, and it takes you through these awesome missions. And it's in terms of the number of missions, there's 14 main missions in the storyline.
Yes, the main plot has 14 story missions and some surprises.
Yeah. Because
I don't want to spoil the biggest twist, the biggest combos. There are some surprises that we still do not want to spoil. We want people to buy the book and to, be amazed what happens.
Now the missions themselves are not, they're not specifically tied to any faction. You could play these missions with any faction that you currently have.
They're meant to be to make your gaming group have fun and let everybody take the faction and make their army lists. The fun here is to apply your own knowledge of playing and your own strategies and being able to, fulfill the mission, to be smarter than your opponent.
Yeah, and so you and your gaming buddies can get together. What size of armies? We're looking. It plays well with say 300 points.
Yes, the mathematics of Infinity works very well with 300 points, and the missions are designed for 300 points. The missions require a 300-point list, but after that, with the new experience rules, allows the player to increase that level of points.
So you'll find yourself playing, typically with 10, 15 miniatures, maybe 20 miniatures is kind of your max with Infinity at the moment. So.
Yes, depending on the army, because there are armies like Ariadna and Hakislam that allows the player to put cheaper troops and reach like 20 miniatures.
Yeah.
But armies like Aleph or the Combined Army, they will stick more into 10 miniatures. That's more usual with them.
So it's a campaign system that will support, even up to like 8 players can get together and play through this campaign, and you'll find yourselves
4 to 8 players. I think that's
So if you and 3 other gaming buddies get together, you could spend the winter enjoying this campaign. There's hours and hours and hours of fun to be had in this.
Yes.
Now, the interesting thing is that these are not individual standalone missions. We've already alluded to the fact that there's an ongoing narrative in this. So the missions actually link together. So what I'm going to do is get a graphic put up that gives you guys an idea of how these missions link together. So here we can see the campaign tree, Carlos,
Yes.
okay? Can you take us through what we're looking at here?
Okay, if you look at this graphic, you will see 4 different chapters of the campaign. Chapter 1 is named Incursion in the Niemann Zone. That is the alien occupied zone in the Paradiso planet, which is the biggest conflict planet right now.
And the bulk of this campaign is set on Paradiso, the planet, yes.
Not only in Paradiso, but very focused in Paradiso, because it has all the mysteries in Infinity setting, and the greatest conflict is in planet Paradiso.
So we see the missions laid out 101, 102, 103, and these arrows basically point to there's a common path, but victors, people who are winners, actually move to different kinds of missions and things like that. So can you explain how it works?
Yes, let's begin with the beginning. Let's go to mission 101. Okay, everybody will play that mission. Everybody will make an army list for that mission, and everybody will, make couples with the players, and they play that mission. And of course, some will win, some will lose, and they will all make victory points with the battle, fulfilling the objectives of the mission.
Yeah.
Those victory points will turn into experience points that they will be able to spend using the experience system. But we'll go on that later.
Yeah.
Then we see that we have the common path area, so everybody will play mission 102. Okay.
Yeah.
But they make another army list, they fill another soldiers in the field, making an army list designed to fulfill that 102 mission.
Yes, yeah.
And then the first players who have more victory points will follow the orange path, the path of the victory. Okay, so they only those 2 players will play mission 103.
Yeah.
So playing more missions has the potential of winning more experience points, and that gives you upgrades, more power for your army for the next mission.
Yeah.
So a total winner in this campaign will play 12 missions,
Yeah.
and a total loser will play just 8 missions, having less opportunities to increase his experience points.
Yeah. Now, in terms of one of the key things that you had mentioned there was that as people are playing through these missions, it's not the same army playing mission after mission after mission.
No, no.
It's almost like you're choosing your best army to go into each of these missions, because these missions actually take place in different places and different times and things like that as well. So it's quite a weave.
And they're very precise objectives and missions. There are very special moments. And your superiors and the high-rank military people tells you what you have to do, what you have to achieve in that precise point of the Paradiso front.
Yeah, so it's so don't think, guys, that you're just going to get locked into whatever army you're playing. You have to take them through the whole mission. You get to explore your army in a lot of depth here, because a lot of these missions have very, very different flavors to them, and you get to experiment with your lists quite a lot and see what you want to try.
Making army lists in Infinity gives you lots of options, because Infinity is very rich in true profiles. There are lots of options, and we have a very cool army maker that you can use for free in our website, and it's a good way to really design your army list.
Yeah. Now, one of the key things that I have really enjoyed about this is the concept of cube. Okay, because cube is a concept that a lot of the miniatures, a lot of the characters in Infinity have this cube implanted, and the cube was basically it's like a hard drive for their soul almost, for their being, their essence. Now, until now, cube has kind of been only half represented in the game of Infinity. All you've had is the kind of the negative aspect of the cube, because by wearing a cube, you could be possessed by aliens. But now we're seeing the true purpose of the cube through these campaign rules.
Yes, it's kind of that. When you read the Infinity Flap, you read the description, and the cube has a lot of significance in the Infinity setting. This kind of resurrecting technology, avoiding death, really changed society. And in the Infinity normal games, where two players just exterminate each other, there is no after the battle moment. There is no meaning of the use of the cube. But through a narrative campaign, having mission after mission after mission while telling a story and people is dying, now the cube has more meaning because you can be resurrected, your heroes can be resurrected. So that involves a lot of game design and thinking, and we focus very much on that because the fluff tells a lot about the cube.
Yeah.
So it's important to make sense.
So there's like two modes to this game, right?
Yes.
There's the mode for wimps, okay, where you play in a non-death state. So in other words, death is not permanent, so your key characters don't actually die. And then there's the hardcore approach, the hardcore game type, where death is death. Yes. So after a game, if you're Joan of Arc or you're William Wallace has been killed, you get to take a roll, and there's various modifiers and things that can be applied to those rolls to make it easier or harder, depending on your army makeup and what you have. But you make a roll, and if Joan of Arc dies of that roll, that's it.
She is not resurrected, that's it. You won't be able to feel Joan of Arc for the rest of the campaign.
Yeah.
But there are two modes because both modes make sense.
Yeah.
I mean, we cannot, as a company, we cannot tell people, no, you have buy our miniature of Joan of Arc, but you cannot use it anymore because she's dead. No, we have the normal mode where this kind of death is not applied, so you can, of course, enjoy Infinity miniatures because they are beautiful and they're made to be enjoyed, and play it every time you want to feel Joan of Arc or your self-made hero that we will go into that later. But the narrative mode has the meaning of the cube, of what is death, and the dramatic sense of it. And if you are playing mission 103, you still have like 8 missions more to play, or 10 missions more to play, and your character that makes a huge combo with the rest of your troops dies, is a big loss for you.
Yeah, because there are characters in Infinity that change the shape of the army completely, you know, and if you lose that guy and you can't play into the rest of it, it's going to take quite a bit of rethought to the structure of your army and stuff like that. I love this hardcore mode. You know, I just think this is awesome. I love the concept of death being realized in this. Yeah, I know it's a case of, you know, you might have a miniature and you only get to play it a couple of times, but I think it'll change the nature of how some people will play Infinity, because they'll be less inclined to throw those heroes into into dangerous situations, because they'll say, it's too early in the campaign, I don't want to lose that miniature, I'll wait and see if I can gain more experience to buff them up before taking those risks.
I really cannot wait to receive the feedback of the players. I really want to know what they do, what their style of playing will be when they know all the rules of the campaign, and when they are applying, you know, the cube, death, knowing that there are more battles after this battle, the way they try to achieve more experience points to being able to upgrade their armies, and what combos they will find. We know the combos that they are, but it's very funny to see people achieving those points.
Yeah. Now, guys, you know, we want this Infinity Week 2 to be all about hardcore players and new gamers. So if you're watching this and you haven't played Infinity yet, believe me, using this campaign and narrative style is probably one of the best things you can do to get into Infinity. So stick with us on Beasts of War. During the course of this week, we're going to be recapping on how to play Infinity. We've got a very special kind of mission that we're going to be giving away, an exclusive mission for you guys to try things out. It's time to get these dice charged, so but you know, whether you're new to Infinity or a hardcore player, we're going to try and make this week as awesome as we can make it. Now, while we're on the topic of heroes, we all know about the heroes that are already in Infinity, like Joan of Arc, William Wallace. Yes. But now, for the first time, we have the ability to build our own heroes, because you're introducing a new model called Spec Ops, Special Operations.
Yes, those models are meant to be your self-made hero. Those miniatures that will be released very soon are, we are designing and making one for each army. They will have extra parts, extra arms and heads and weapons in the blister, so people can make conversions with them. And they are meant to begin the campaign using the lowest troop profile, the basic line infantry troop profile. But then, building from that, you can spend experience points in the Spec Op to really give him more weapons, more skills, more devices, and increase his values until you are making your own big hero.
So basically, as an example, a Spec Op might have a base cost of 10 points. Okay?
Fusileer Spec Op, the Indigo Spec Op from Pan-Oceania, for example, cost 10 points.
Yeah.
And doesn't matter how much you grow his troop profile during the campaign, he will cost 10 points when playing mission 101, and he will be still costing 10 points when playing mission 302.
So now's a good time to give you guys a bit of insight into how you work experience. So you're playing these games, you're gaining victory points, and there's lots of different ways of gaining victory points through these games. And the missions themselves are very varied as well. One of my favorites is there's a mission where you're trying to set up a laser triangulation so a dropship can come in and perform a rescue. There's another mission where there's alien artifacts, and you're switching on these alien artifacts, but you have to switch them on in a particular order, and one miniature has to do it. And you can just see the intensity of trying to get this, and then if that miniature dies, another miniature has to come and pick up and try and pick up where he left off.
That mission takes a lot of time. The testing games were terrible with that.
So there's so much variety here, and there's lots of different ways to gain victory points. At the end of the game, those victory points become experience points.
Yes.
Now, the beauty of the system that Corvus Belli have worked out here is that there's actually two ways to spend your experience points.
Yes.
You can spend your experience points on your Spec Op, and you can only have one Spec Op in your army.
Yes. And he can die.
And he can die. So you could spend a load of experience buffing up that Spec Op, and he can die, and then you've lost basically all that experience that you've spent on him.
You can begin another new Spec Op from zero. You have to build again on all his stats.
Now, the other thing you can spend it off, and we're going to bring up another diagram here. This is the command and control screen.
Yes, this is already censored command.
Yeah, so it's been censored. You're not going to see everything in that. When you play the game, you'll get to see a lot more. So, yes. But this is army level upgrades, okay? Now, any of you guys that have played real-time strategy games will immediately recognize this as a kind of like a tech tree, where you pick a speciality, and during your first spend, you can only pick one speciality to spend your experience on. But the idea is that as you start to spend your experience points, you start to fill out these specialities, and you can see there some of the skills that you're going to get. For example, in the PsyOps speciality, once you've reached level 3, you get a free mercenary.
Yes.
If you have also the mobile reserve speciality, you get an extra 10 army points. Together that's a free mercenary, an extra 10 army points. That's the equivalent of another 50 points on your list.
Taken to the limit, you may have these kind of upgrades, and you can combine them to really make a 300-point battle become for you a 400-point battle, for example. That is a huge advantage.
So as you can see, once you reach, for example, the PsyOps speciality level 4, okay, then it automatically triggers this one at the bottom saying enemy lieutenant always identified, which between me and you is always very cool in a game of Infinity, because then you know who you want to go for.
he will have to spend to reach level 5.
Oh, sorry, you'll have to spend your 20 points to reach that. So the points aren't cumulative, so what happens is on level 1 you spend your 2 points. To get to level 2 you have to spend 5 points. To get to level 3 you have to spend an additional 9 points.
Yeah, but that gives you that level and all the previous ones.
Yeah, so whenever you get to level 3, free mercenary, you get that and the ones that are behind it as well.
Yeah,
so.
that those the previous levels are making your army harder to get into the retreat state, which I like this column, the Sea Ops specialty, very much because it's not interesting at all for alien players, which already have all those advantages by themselves, and they cannot use mercenaries. So an alien combined army player will not pay attention to this column.
Yeah.
But that is well thought, because it will be a bad point if there was something here in this column that they want, and some other things are not attractive for them.
Yeah, so the entire campaign itself has been very much thought with the different armies in mind. There are even specific faction rules and charts that you use to determine particular events and things like that as well. So it is designed for your army. So you have a choice then. You know, it's now, do I do these army level upgrades, which I know are guaranteed to always be there, or do I upgrade my spec up to have this uber character that if he survives to the end, he's going to be absolutely amazing.
Yes.
But there's always the risk of him dying, and if he dies, then you have the option to create another spec up to take his place and start spending from scratch the experience points again.
That's it. The limitation for this command and control screen is that at the beginning of the campaign, you just can choose one of the specialties, one of them. And depending on your success during the campaign, your victories and the trust that you build from your high-rank military superiors, they will promote you. And you will be able to choose 2 columns and be able to choose 3 columns to use all those upgrades. So this is like unlocking upgrades.
Yeah, so there's a promotion thing as well, and this is a role that can take place after games to see whether you're promoted. And I think there's 4 levels of promotion.
Yes, the last level unlocks all the columns and gives you automatically the first level of all of them.
Yeah. So you have a campaign system, you have narrative missions, you have a campaign map that's going to lead the different players in your gaming group through different story arcs, but all of the same story. Are there going to be any new troops or any new kind of troop options in this book as well?
Yes, yes. All troops receive new options and new skills, and there are some brand new troops, reinforcements from the already existing sectoral armies. And everybody has some new toys.
Nice. Well, the last big surprise in the book is a new faction.
Yes.
And if you want to hear about the new faction, you've got to stay tuned to the Beast of War Infinity Week 2, because we're going to have a video where we go into detail about this new faction from Infinity. Guys, thanks for watching. Get your comments below. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you'd like to know. I'm sure the guys from Corvus Belli will be active in both the comments and the forums to try and answer any questions you have. So get them below. Tell us what you think. I am dead excited about this. We're looking forward to putting our table to the test, and definitely give me my dice back, man, because I'm going to have to start getting ready to charge my dice with their laser beams. Thanks for watching, guys. Enjoy the week.